me and Jordan may say something, me, Jordan, and Joe may say something fantastic today that somebody wants repeated. Probably not me, them, but it would probably not follow my end. All right, so I want to announce the groups of the month for the month of October. Listen to this, folks. This is pretty nifty stuff. Top 5 groups month of October. Elijah Crujo and his crew, 38,609 in premium. Way to go, Elijah, coming into number 5 spot. Number 4 spot, me and Miss Tina Freeman's Base Shop. Outside of all our key leaders, agency owner, me and Miss Tina, outside all their numbers. I'm proud of this, Miss Tina. $44,813 in premium. A lot of hard work went into that over the past 9 months. Way to go, Base Shop. 44,813. I'm proud of you guys. That is a great number. Coming into number 3 spot, we just got edged out by Mr. Val Zarn. 46,309. Way to go, Val, and your team, buddy. That is super, super impressive stuff. Really awesome stuff there, buddy. Number 2 spot, like a drum roll. I don't know if you guys get that, or it probably sounded like a purring kitten. But number 2 spot, Jordan and Jared Gillum, 58,056 in premium. Jordan and Jared Gillum, way to go. That's an awesome month. Maybe a record month. I'm not sure. That's awesome. So I've got you muted, so you can say all you want. I can't hear you. Number 1 spot for the entire month, our buddy, our friend, Mr. Grant J. Reynolds, 60,966. Way to go, Grant J. Reynolds. Super proud of you, buddy. Always will be. So that's awesome. That's awesome, folks. Good month. Hey, let's say goodbye to that month. That was a good month. You guys went out and killed it. We got month in November, and we got lives to change, and that's what I love about this business, because every month gives us an opportunity to go out and change somebody else's life. Want to get into this business building leaderboards this past week. We've got STPs. Dustin Hensley, way to go, Dustin Hensley, making all those dials and showing the plan more than 10 times. Love that, buddy. That's an entrepreneurial mindset. Mr. Barry Davis, appreciate you, buddy, and all you bring to the table, because you are constantly showing the plan more than 10 times. I love it, Barry. Mr. Jared Gillum, proud of you, sir. Definitely making changes in y'all's business, and y'all are kicking tail, and your numbers are showing, and I like it. And me and Miss Tina, we had over 10 STPs. Way to go. Heck yeah. All right, so recruiting, which leads us to the next thing. How do we change people's lives? Well, we show them this business, and some of them take advantage of it and take part of this business. Trent Price, Barry Davis, Jared Gillum, me and Miss Tina all had one recruit this past week, licensed contracted recruits, or, you know, y'all get what I'm saying. The next top 2 right here, Mr. Val Zarn, 2 brand new recruits this past week. Way to go, Val Zarn. And Jeffrey Miller led us in production, also led us in recruiting, which I love seeing that. Jeffrey Miller is going to build a massive organization here, and it's not even going to be like, it's going to be massive. It's going to be awesome. So Jeffrey Miller, always proud of you, buddy, and just the sharpness you bring to this agency. And we got to have you on a call here pretty soon. Why do we not have Jeffrey Miller on the call? Joe, make it a note, buddy. We got to have Jeffrey Miller on this call. Okay. So make it a note. Next week, we're going to have Jeffrey Miller on here. We're going to interview him. We're going to see what's going on in Jeffrey Miller's world. So, all right, big buddy. I'm going to ask to unmute El Chipicabra, Smoking Joe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. Enjoying our past couple of weeks, actually. We've been
yeah,
everything.
You and your business partner killed it this past week, buddy.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Before I get to you, though, I forgot to announce this. Cheryl Nygaard, Jennifer Yoakum, and Scott Emmer, all 3 brand new writers this past week. 3 brand new writers here with Symmetry Financial Group. Congratulations, Scott, Jennifer, and Cheryl. So very proud of you. Welcome aboard. If you can do it 1 time, you can do it 1,000 times, and you can become the next El Chipicabra, Smoking Joe Martinez himself. So very proud of all you brand new writers out there. That's awesome stuff. So, buddy, you got book of the month, right?
Yes, I do.
And book of the month out there, for you fine folks out there, how successful people think, man. Joe, I'm gonna let you let them in on how successful people think, my friend.
I will. Hold on 1 second. Somebody.
All right, all right.
Hello. Sorry, guys. Somebody walked in my office.
I love it. That's awesome.
Early over here. Had to lock it.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, I get the privilege of doing the book of the month. John Maxwell, How Successful People Think. I started the book, I think, Friday, and really cool. It's blowing my mind. We talk about this all the time, and it's about, the thinking process, how to grow ourselves, the whole reason we read books in this company and stretching our minds. And this book, what I'm already getting out of it is it's teaching us how to do this, right? The process of thinking bigger, the process of stretching your mind. And just got some cool insights that I've got so far in the first 3 chapters of the book, right? So my question to y'all is, why should you change the way you think, right? And for me, the answer, the catalyst to growth and improvement is reading and thinking bigger, right? Because you're only as big as your world, and your world is your mind. So the bigger that gets, the more you think, the more you can accomplish. How to become a better thinker? There's a couple key tips, right? Expose yourself to good input, right? And good input is books that help you improve yourself. Good input is being on these conference calls, right? It's all about the correct information that you're bringing in. Not from YouTube videos, not from, cartoons, just junk stuff, right? You got to be careful what you're inputting at. Maybe not in YouTube videos. You can find good stuff in YouTube. Just thinking about the stuff that you're intaking and the input, making sure it's correct information or the right information where you want to be headed, right? Because if you're bringing in the wrong input, that's the way you're going to be headed. You're bringing in the right input, that's where you're going to go. Exposing yourself to good thinkers, right? We always talk about that. It's about the people you're circling, the people you're attracted or that you hang around with. So plugging into these, I'm going to say that and probably every page I got written down here is making sure you plug into these Zoom sessions and to the Symmetry calls, making sure we're in the right place of mind. So making sure you're getting the information from experts in our field or experts in success, because that's how you'll get the right information. So that brings choosing to think good, right? So this is a big thing in a lot of our books. And just from my experience, from when I speak to people, is one of the biggest issues when people are having problems. They're not thinking good. They're thinking negative. They're thinking in things that are going to have bad results. You got to learn to continue to think good. And that's a really hard thing to do, to stay focused on good activity, right? You can't focus on no one's answering the phone, no one, I'm getting no-showed. You got to focus on the good results, which is how many appointments I can set, right? How many STPs I can talk to, how many people I can recruit. You got to stay focused on the good activity. Finding a good place to think your thoughts. I can't emphasize how important that one is, because you need to have thinking time, right? You need to have time to process your day, your week, your month, because everything we do here is intentional, right? Nothing happens by accident. We were having a call earlier. You don't accidentally become an AO, right? You don't accidentally become a key leader. You don't accidentally write 10,000 in APV for the week. You think, you have a process, you give yourself time to get the results that you want and how you're going to do it. So making sure you have time to think your thoughts, and then making sure you have a place so that you can shape them, right? whether that be in your home office, whether it be in your office, whether it be at the park, wherever you think best and you have a peace of mind, making sure you make time every week, if not every other couple days, so that you can set your goals, establish where you're at for the week, for the month, and giving yourself the time to make sure you have a process and you're on track with that process, because you get knocked off of your process every day, right? It's called life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Y'all have to understand we get thrown off track every single day, if not, every other hour. But you got to, where you get good and you get better is you give yourself time to reset and get back on that track and make sure you're accomplishing the goals that you set forth on that week. So very important. Fine tuning your thoughts. So it's great to say I'm going to write 10,000 for the week, right? Or I'm going to have a 50K month, but you need to make sure you fine tune it. And how you fine tune it is making sure you have the time to do it, making sure you're in the place to do it. And then using a couple of keys that I'll go over to making sure you can hit those goals and you have a thought out plan. And some of that is going through humor, right? Are you having fun doing what you're doing or planning what you're going to do? Are you able to go through humility, right? That means, my plan last week was, me and Jeff's plan last week was to write 10,000 APV each and set 20 appointments. He wrote 9,000 something. I wrote 3,000, right? So that's my humility, but that's the process that I'm going through, and I'm willing to go through it because I know I'm going to get the results if I'm consistent in what I'm doing. Okay. Excitement. Are you excited about what you're doing? Does it get you pumped up in your thought process, the goals that you're setting for yourself? Creativity. That means, this is a big one for me, because this is where you stretch your thinking, right? Because my goal isn't to write 5,000. My goal wasn't to write 150,000 last year. It was to stretch the possibilities of what could be done in Symmetry, right? You don't accidentally become successful. You stretch the status quo. You stretch what you know you can do. Because if you know you can write 5,000 and you're comfortable with it, then that shouldn't be your goal. It should be something that's a little harder to obtain, obviously obtainable, but something that really stretches you. Like when you set a goal and when you're thinking of something you want to do, it has to be something like where you're thinking, I don't know if I can do that, right? But then your good thinking says, we're gonna do that. And that has to be very important to what y'all are thinking, because this is yourself, right? This is your own business. You're doing this yourself. You have to stretch yourself. Remember, when you're working for someone else or a company, they stretch you no matter what, right? They say, this is what we need done, and this is the time you have to do it. And almost everyone that works for somebody says, that can't be done. This is a ridiculous goal, right? Well, why are you not doing that for yourself? That's the real question, right? Why are you not stretching your goals? You're your business owner, you're your boss. So why are you not setting a goal that's going to stretch you beyond your comfort zone and beyond what you think is possible? Because that's a huge thing. You really got to stretch your thinking, right? So a quote in the book, right, is the right thought plus the right people in the right environment at the right time for the right result. I'll say that again. The right thoughts plus the right people in the right environment at the right time for the right reason is going to give you the right results. Okay. That means you have to work together with the right people. You'll have to be stretching your goals and thinking of the right stuff to get the right results to be successful here. Right. And that's in life and in everything, right? Because I can use this. What I love about Symmetry is they teach us to use the information that we're learning through books and stretching ourselves also in our lives, right? So, with my wife, are we thinking the right thoughts together? Are we stretching our family abilities in the right way? And are we accomplishing the goals together for the right reasons? So that's huge, making sure everything we bring here, not only in life and in work together, right? Because when you have a happy life, you're going to have a happy job. or a work environment. So it's really important so you can be thinking good thoughts. Cultivate the big picture thinking. This is huge, right? Because a lot of us, when we come into this, we're not used to thinking big, right? This is something that I cherish about Symmetry, is it teaches us to dream again, right? You've heard that before in some of our conference calls, is this place will teach you to dream big again, because society, corporate life, it doesn't teach you to think big. It teaches you to do this and you'll get this result. And hopefully in 20 years, you'll be the boss of what? I don't know, because you're working for someone else, right? That's how I was trained for 20 years. So I always thought outside the box, but that was the life I was on. That's the track that I was on, was do this for that, and you'll get this result, right? Never my thoughts, never my idea, never my dream, right? I was working to build someone else's dream here. And I tell all my new recruits this, right? Here, I don't understand why some people don't put in the work that they did somewhere else, right? 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, or just, stronger efforts for someone else's dreams. Why are you not doing it for your dreams? Right? Like when my prior company called and said, hey, Joe, you got to be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. and your shift was till 2 a.m. It was, oh yeah, absolutely. Right? Why is it not, hey, Joe, you didn't write 10,000 APV last week, you finished at 3,000. You got to continue to dial tomorrow, right? You got to set more appointments. We have a quota to hit. That's your dream. You set the goal that you want, and you have to put in the work to do it, right? You have to make sure you do that for yourself. A quote from the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, right? You have to think anyways. Whatever you're doing, you have to think anyways. So why not think big? Right? You have to think no matter what. That means no matter what, you have to think of what you're going to dial, what you're going to set in APV, how many people you're going to STP this week. So why not think big? Why not it be 10,000 APV for the week? Why not it be 20 STPs for the week? Why not it be 40 STPs, right? Because why are you comfortable with the status quo? The whole thing of dreaming and thinking bigger is to stretch yourself and to set goals that are harder to obtain, to set a goal or to do the work that someone else is not willing to do. Because that's what successful people do, right? And this is the book of successful thinking. Successful people do the little bit more, and it's just a little bit more than a regular person, than a good person, right? So good to great, right? It's a fine line. It's just that many more STPs. It's that many more appointments. It's so small, it's crazy, because a lot of people stop right before they cross the finish line and don't realize it. And you really have to think about that. A benefit of thinking big, it allows you to lead. What do I mean by that? That means as a leader and thinking big, you see the picture before your team does, right? For all the KOs out there and all the people that want to become a KO and an agency owner and grow this thing bigger, you have to see the picture before your team does. You have to visualize it and see what it is that you're working for, right? You have to have the end result in mind. You have to stretch, and then allowing yourself to be a good leader by thinking big is you get to stretch the picture for your team and where it's going. And the true benefit of that is how you help your team accomplish their dream, right? A true leader, how you help your team accomplish their dream, right? My success is going to be based on, can I help Jeff Miller accomplish his dream? Can I help my brother? Can I help everyone else on my team accomplish their dream? That's what my success is going to be based on. Can I help my team accomplish their dream? That's a good one to think about. Now, all these theories, right, we're talking about and reading, They're great, but how do you get them, right? How do you acquire the wisdom of thinking bigger? The big thing is you need to learn from every experience that you go through, whether it's good or bad, right? You have to get the good out of it, okay? Gaining insight from a variety of people, that's huge. And that's something Symmetry brings to us already, right? We get to listen to all these people in our company that are very successful, and we get their insights and we get their information and we get to learn from them. Now, there's lots of other information we can get right from these books and from other people, but you have to be selective from the information you get from certain people. Something I learned the first time I met Chris Cook, and it has blown my mind. And I tell you this all the time, Chris, is would you trade places from the person you're getting information from or seeking advice? Right? I never thought about that. And I really want y'all to think, write this down, please. Would you trade places with the person you're seeking advice? Okay? Because this is a mistake we do every day naturally, because we're not really thinking of who we're asking the questions to, right? You can have a great question, but if you're asking the wrong person, you're going to get the wrong answer, right? A great question asked to the wrong person is going to give you a wrong answer. And what do I mean by that? A small example, right? When you're first looking at Symmetry, this is a mistake that I see a lot of people I talk to, right? When I first STP someone, they're super excited and they're like, I'm all for this. Yes, let me just go home and talk to my wife or talk to my husband or talk to my brother or talk to my best friend, right? Well, guess what? They're going to ask advice from someone that doesn't know how to make the income we didn't promise them, but the income we talked about. They're asking advice from someone that doesn't know how to work for themselves because they work for a company for a 9-to-5 place and a secure paycheck, right? They're asking advice from someone that has no idea how to grow or dream big. So think about that when you're asking advice on this business, right? When you're struggling here, are you counseling with your upline, or you're asking your brother or your best friend, like, hey man, I'm struggling with this, it's a work from home, and I see people on the leaderboards and they're making $5,000 last week. I don't know, what do you think? Dude, that's crazy. Come over here, they're paying $14 an hour plus benefits with overtime. Come, bro, right? That's the advice they're getting, versus, hey, counsel with your upline. They just made 150 off of their team, right? Or they just helped so many families in a week. It wrote 15 applications. Why are you not counseling with those people, right? You got to be careful who you ask the questions to. Very important. And then on big thinking, right? You cannot be married mentally to the status quo. Okay? You cannot be married mentally to the status quo. You have to think bigger and you have to think outside the box. This is absolutely an outside the box thinking business, because if you think it's cookie cutter, it's not, right? You have to do what helps you be successful. For me, it was dialing 1,000 dials, right? I was willing to do that to be successful here. It wasn't the 250 that was our standard or a minimum. It wasn't the until, 400 or 500 dials. For me to be successful, I had to dial 1,000 dials. That was it. Like, that's what I had to do, and that's what I was willing to do. Key to focus your thinking, right? And when I say that is focus your thinking on the right things, right? Is giving 80% of your effort to the top 20% of activities that create an income here. Okay. I think they hit it. I think, Chris, y'all talked about it last week in our meeting, is you can be busy real quick here, but it's on all the wrong activities if it's not creating an income for you. And you have to be careful with that, because this is running your own business. You decide where you're focusing your work. So you have to be careful where you distribute that activity, right? Because it can't be on trying to learn all these policies, all these underwritings, all this stuff that does not create an income. There's the main source of income is dialing, setting appointments, STPing for your team's growth, right? And every day following up on policies that have been written to make sure they get issued. Those are some of the 4 keys to being successful here, right? It ain't reading all these underwritings, learning all these other policies. Am I dialing if I don't have the appointments I need, right? Am I talking to the right people? Am I making sure I'm getting my business issue paid? That's what you need to focus on, because that's what's going to get you paid. Another real good way to stay focused is removing distraction. Okay. I found out really quick here, you can get distracted with stuff that was never distracting you because you're at home, or you're your own boss now, right? Because I'll talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, well, I got to go to the dentist, or hey, I have to, go to the grocery store, or I'm fixing this, or I have to work on my car, or I have to wash the dishes, or I had a lot of laundry, or I had issues with my wife, or whatever it may be, right? Just remember, when you had a real job, a regular job, you went to work no matter what. All that stuff was done around your 9 to 5, your 8 to 8, whatever it was. Okay. So make sure you give your business now the same priority. That means if something happened to your car, or if something happened to this, you do it around your dial time. You do it around your, and it's not because we don't want you to focus on, hey, my car broke down. It's because you wouldn't have done it anyways. You still had to work to create your income. So don't work on this stuff and then next week say, hey, I didn't make any money last week. Well, you didn't put any effort on the stuff that creates an income, right? Because Symmetry is work-life balance. And it's important to understand the privilege of work-life balance is deciding when you have that time with your family or the stuff that needs to get done, right? Because you still have to work. If you don't work, you ain't going to make an income here. Okay. And remember, it's not like, oh, well, I have to do that now. No, you were doing it anyways for someone else. You have to remember these things. You were doing it for someone else. You were doing it for the job you worked at, the hours they gave you, no matter what. You lived around your work schedule. You remember that. They gave you a schedule and you lived around that. Here, you get to say, I get to work around my life, but make sure you put in that work to create the life you want. Okay? I'll leave you with one more thing for the life. Make sure you're dedicated to removing the distractions and mental clutter so that you can concentrate on the good stuff with clarity that are the real issues that you need to accomplish. That's all I got. Mr. Cookie?
Sorry. I love it, buddy. Hey, so real quick quiz for you. What's the most you've written in a month, APV wise, Joe, since you've been here?
I think it was pretty close to like 65,000 last
Right.
October, something like that.
So fine folks out there, 65,000. What's your top month income wise with us?
Ooh, I think like 55,000.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So you made 55,000. The reason I'm saying this, folks, so you've got a guy tomorrow hosting the new agent call that his biggest month is 65,000 in premium. His biggest income month with us is 55,000. He's got his family debt free within his first year and a half of working with Symmetry Financial. I challenge you to this. I challenge you to get on the call tomorrow, new agent call at 11 a.m. Eastern with him. Get on there, listen to what he's got to say, what he's got to train you new agents that you need to be doing to be successful here. Then I also challenge you after that, he's going to have a little session where you can do some Q&A, ask him some questions because he is somebody that you probably want to trade places with. And he already runs another successful business even outside of SFG, all because of what he's done here at Symmetry Financial. So, that's a beautiful thing. And I challenge you guys tomorrow, you have that opportunity. So thank you, Joe Martinez. I appreciate you, buddy. That was really good stuff, man. And I think you got your next Joe Martinez and Jeffrey Miller. So remind me, let's have Jeffrey on the call next week. I'd love to talk to him. Cool, buddy.
Okay.
All right, man. All right. Let's see, Jordan, I'm gonna put you on the spotlight video. Spotlight video. There you go. Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
I am nervous. How are you?
Are you nervous? You speak all the time in
Yeah,
public.
I can't explain it. It's every single time. I can't explain it. It just makes me like, if I'm sitting here squirming, it's just because I'm dealing with some nerves here. Y'all don't mind me.
Well, you're doing great, buddy, and congratulations to you and your husband Jared. 58,000 in premium in your all's business this past month. You wrote over 26,000 in personal production. So very proud of you, lady. And I thought this was you brought it up to me the other day. You'd sent me a text, and I was like, man, that's perfect. The topic that you got, and the topic you had is comfort zones, and maybe how to get out of them, really what that means to you, and really I'm just going to let you roll with it, buddy. Just so very proud of you and what you guys are developing, and go ahead and roll with it.
Absolutely. And I will keep things short because I do know we all need to get on with the rest of our day. And I'm nervous. So the shorter I go, the better for me. But yeah, comfort zones, the topic kind of came up whenever Chris and I and Jared, we were at the office the other day and we had a moment, right, where I brought up something and Chris mentioned the slippery slope of comfort zones. And I was like, oh my, it was an epiphany moment. It's not like he's never said anything to me about that before, but it was like that moment where I understood it. We all get that. And it made me think deeper on the topic of like, what else, what other moments in our life are we having slippery slope moments, or how deep can we be into one without realizing it? And then, what does that look like long-term versus short-term, and, all that stuff. So I'm going to cover that real quick. So to start us off, I want to make sure this is as engaged as we possibly can be, guys. So if you've got pen and paper, or if you're doing something, I think I saw Matt Costa jogging, which good for you, man. But if you guys can get to a place where you could like stop for a minute and just take this in, I think that this could really help you guys out. Because it helped me. We were on a Sunday, and normally on Sundays we do absolutely zero. We don't do anything on Sundays. But writing this out really helped me, especially with talking with my husband, Jared, about comfort zones. And it starts with asking yourself, what do you want? You started your business, you came here, there had to be something different that you were looking for. So what do you want? Anyone who's ever accomplished something great had to become someone great first. So let's talk about the process on how to become someone. It starts with your intentions. Your intentions lead to your behaviors. Your behaviors will change your practices. Your practices will become second nature, which just ends up becoming a part of who you are. So that's your process. So it starts with your intentions. Your intentions are your values. Deep down, I would say one of my top values of myself is my integrity. I swear, if I say I'm going to do something, it could be something so small, I will get it done. Because if I don't, that goes against the values of what I value in myself. So take just a second, and I want you guys to write down 3 things that you value in yourself and in others. It could be honesty, it could be trustworthiness, it could be integrity. And just take a quick second to do that. I'm going to dive into this right now because I think we need to talk about comfort zones. More questions to ask yourself. Do this throughout the day, or take a couple minutes to do this for yourself. Ask yourself, what makes me feel comfortable? Is it watching TV? Jared and I, we just found a new TV show we really like, and hopefully we can stop watching it. So just saying, we're guilty. We're all guilty of this, right? Watching TV, it's called The Hunters. It's really good. It's on Amazon Prime. Scrolling social media. It's about Nazis. Don't watch it. Indulging in conversations about others. Does that make you feel comfortable? Is it inactivity? Is it staying up late and sleeping in? Does that make you feel comfortable? What about text message conversations? Does that make you feel comfortable? And what about avoiding conflict? And another thing, now that we've got a list of some things that make us feel comfortable, I want you to assess how much of your time is devoted to the things that make you feel comfortable. If you looked at your 24-hour day, obviously you can put sleep in there because, if y'all are sleeping 13 hours a day, that's taking up some of your time. but how much of your time is devoted to the things that make you feel comfortable? And do these things drive you towards or away from the goals that you have for yourself, the goals, the things that you said that you wanted? Do they fall in line also with the core values that you have? The things that you said down here mean the most to you. Now let's talk about what we could trade in those things for, right? Things that make us feel uncomfortable, but might be driving us towards our goals. Instead of watching TV, we could be reading books. Joe just dove into John Maxwell, which we all know. I mean, John Maxwell was one of the keynote speakers at conference, and we all would have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars just to shake his hand and just to pry into his brain. That's what we have in books, is stuff like that instead of watching The Hunters on Amazon Prime. Instead of scrolling social media, you could be listening to podcasts. Instead of staying up late and sleeping in, you could be waking up early and doing your miracle morning. I love this time of year. I know a lot of people hate when it turns dark at 5, but I love having an extra hour in the morning. Instead of text message conversations, are you FaceTiming and calling people to build relationships instead of going the easy way out with a text message? Instead of avoiding conflict, are you handling the things with the people who mean the most to you? Or even the people who don't, maybe they're acquaintances, but maybe it just needs to be handled because it sits right here on your shoulders throughout the day, the fact that you've got conflict with someone. And instead of indulging in conversations about others, what about indulging in conversations about ideas, about goals for yourself, about goals for the people you surround yourself with? And instead of inactivity, get up and do something. So we're either growing or we're shrinking at all times. I don't know if you guys know that. If you ever have a day where you don't do anything, have you ever noticed that sometimes you're like, yeah, this didn't really affect tomorrow. I've always got tomorrow, when really we're shrinking if we're putting off the things that we need to be doing today instead of growing. Like we read about in The Compound Effect with Darren Hardy, in The Slight Edge with Jeff Olson, we're always gradually heading towards or away from our goals with our everyday choices. How we do anything is how we do everything. I remember when Jared and I first got together, one of the things I had to figure out was the fact that this guy really enjoyed having his laundry put away a certain way. And then I also realized that I had started my slippery slope of a comfort zone of not finishing things that I started whenever I didn't put away my hangers in a certain spot, or I didn't hang up the clothes that I just wore for a couple of minutes today. I just left them out on the bed. Or if I didn't make my bed, it was a slippery slope of a comfort zone of not finishing what I started. Here's another quote I read somewhere. Couldn't tell you where I found it. The size of what distracts a man or a woman says a lot about his or her dream. As we shift out of our comfort zones and we focus our intentions in line with our core values, our behavior and our practices begin to change, so that we can start becoming the person that we actually want to be to accomplish the goals that we said we want to have. And when we hit these moments, we're able to react with our core values in mind rather than what's within our comfort zones. Maya Angelou said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. So I want to talk about how this relates to our business. Talk about developing slippery slopes in our business, right? And I want you to be able to pay attention to your business and say, am I doing this because this is heading you away from your goals? If you're dialing 1 time and not 3 times, if you're not triple dialing, you're heading away from your goals. Because if you start dialing 1 time through your leads, you're becoming more comfortable at that. And it's becoming even more uncomfortable to triple dial. If you're not calling all of your leads in a session, if you sit down and you just dial through 10 and then just give up, that's becoming comfortable to you. Don't make that comfortable to you. Call through all of your leads in a session. You know who's not doing that? Is DJ Robinson. And I don't even know the guy. And I can tell you he's heading towards the uncomfortable areas in order to get better. Putting off work for personal stuff, like Joe said, investing half as much as you should, and reaching out to coworkers for advice rather than the person who's exactly where you want to be. All of that stuff is within a comfort zone. And it's a slippery slope, guys. Just like Joe said, it's kind of funny how it went in line. Check out how comfort zones can work against us and we can start shrinking. Making excuses gets easier. Procrastinating gets easier. Every time you do it, every time you make an excuse, every time you procrastinate, you start quitting on your dreams. And when you quit on your dreams once, it gets easier to do it again. Now, let's see how the opposite is totally true. When you function outside of your comfort zone, showing up to a dial session at 9:30 a.m. gets easier, guys. It's the same thing. Reading 10 pages a day gets easier. Dialing gets easier. Hearing no gets easier. Running 15 appointments per week gets easier. So I'm just going to finish this up with two really tough questions that I've asked myself this in our journey of personal development. Are you choosing pride over progress? Because that's your ego, guys. If you're choosing pride over progress, you're getting in the way of your goals. And last but not least, are you willing to put average things aside to produce greatness? Just remember, no matter what you choose to do today, your choices, you're always heading towards your goals or away from them. And that's all I had for us today.
Love it, buddy. Love it. I'm sitting here burning up my little notepad over here. So I already got it highlighted in my thing, comfort zone, Jordan Gillum. So I love it. You know, size of what distracts a man or a woman equals the size of their dreams. I love that because, you know, you see that manifest itself, even what Joe was talking about earlier. You know, my favorite Joe and Jordan was, well, I had to mow the lawn today. And it's like, really? If you were working a job, would you have had to mow the lawn today? Right? You know what I mean? It distracted you. And realize, you know, what we truly get in how we help people, folks. It's something that can change your life and change other people's life that you affect. And Jordan, you broke it down well, lady. Comfort zones, guys. What is it? Danny Young says the only thing that fits in your comfort zone is a pillow, right? Is that what he says? Something like that. I never can say it as good as him, so we'll have to have him on the call to say it. But thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Joe. You guys did awesome today. Guys, I've got this recorded. I'll put it back out there today. That was phenomenal stuff. Joe and Jordan, you guys just did. I appreciate you guys so very much. So awesome. Everybody have a great week. Go out there and impact some people's lives. Appreciate you guys. And Joe, I'll go ahead and get you. I'll just see if I can get everybody else off. Everybody have a great week. If you're not me or Joe Martinez, exit stage left. Guess I'll stop recording.